It's day 5 and we started really early since it'll take us about 2 to 3 hours to get to Gotemba Premium Outlets.
Thank you for bringing me to Japan again.
But even before we left Tokyo, it was already raining, so our hopes of seeing Mount Fuji today are pretty slim. Still, fingers crossed. Hi guys! Welcome back to another vlog. Once again, we took a bus from Kinshu Station, this time bus 22, which goes straight to Tokyo Station with no transfers. It was super convenient, especially since we didn't have to go up and down any platforms to get there. We got off again right in front of Tokyo Station's iconic facade, and since we were closer this time, we couldn't resist snapping a few more photos. After that, we headed inside to find where the direct bus to Gotemba was. Once you're inside Tokyo Station, just follow the signs to the Yesu exit. That's where you'll see all the different bus routes lined up. You'll need to buy a ticket from the counter just in front of the bus stops. Unfortunately, Suica cards aren't accepted for this route, something we didn't expect, especially after reloading our cards the night before. We weren't able to get any seats on the 8 a.m. bus, and the next available one that could fit all 5 of us was at 9:30 a.m. Since we had some time to kill, we headed to McDonald's to grab some snacks and just hang out there until it was time to leave. The bus was a double-decker and honestly, it was super convenient. Really clean, spacious legroom, and overall, just a very comfortable ride. The whole trip took around 2 hours and 15 minutes. Since it was a direct bus to Gotemba Outlet, we were dropped off right in front of the entrance, which made everything so easy. When we arrived at Gotemba Outlet, we went straight to the information counter to ask how we could book our return bus ride back to Tokyo. But we were told that bookings had to be made online. Since we didn't have much time to figure out the process, we decided we'd just take the train back later that day instead. When we arrived, it was raining pretty hard and there was no sight of Mount Fuji at all. At that point, we honestly didn't expect to see it anymore. We didn't even know exactly where it was supposed to be visible from in Gotemba. So we just moved on and started checking out the shops instead. We were a bit pressed for time. It was already 11:30 a.m. and we planned to leave Gotemba by 2 p.m. so we could make it back to Tokyo before 7 p.m. As I mentioned in my previous vlog, my husband had rebooked his street karting in Shibuya after it got cancelled due to the weather. The only available day left to fit it in was today, the same day we planned to visit Gotemba. So while we browsed through the shops, we definitely had that time limit in the back of our minds. Our first stop was Kate Spade. There was this canvas bag I've been eyeing since our trip to Japan last year, but even then, I didn't buy it right away. We continued on to other shops like Nike, Adidas, and also checked out Onitsuka. We managed to grab some jackets and shirts, but we skipped buying shoes knowing it would be a hassle to bring them home. Plus, we already bought shoes during last year's trip. I still wanted to check out Onitsuka though, because I was hoping to get a pair for my son. Unfortunately, they didn't have the slip-ons from the Mexico series, and he's not a fan of tying laces, so we had to pass. Later on, since Judith and Gab weren't quite finished with their shopping and we didn't want to rush them, my husband decided to head back to Tokyo on his own a bit earlier. That way, the rest of us could take our time and stay a little longer in Gotemba. We split up around 2 p.m. It was also great that we bought 2 eSIMs for this trip. It really made staying in touch and going on separate itineraries easy while we were in Japan.
Thank you for bringing me to Japan again.
Since the Kate Spade shop was just around the front area of the outlet, I went back there and finally bought the bag. That was actually the last purchase I made at Gotemba before we headed back to Tokyo. Gotemba Premium Outlets is Japan's largest outlet mall nestled in Gotemba City, Shizuoka Prefecture, right at the base of the iconic Mount Fuji. This premier shopping destination offers a breathtaking experience with over 290 stores. Find luxury brands like Gucci, Prada, and Burberry alongside popular international and Japanese labels including Nike, Adidas, and Onitsuka Tiger. Getting there, if you're coming from Tokyo, you've got a couple of easy options. First is the direct bus. There are buses from Shinjuku, Tokyo, Shibuya, Ikebukuro, and Ueno stations that go straight to the outlets. It takes about 80 to 120 minutes and costs around 1,800 to 2,200 yen. Just a heads up, some buses need you to book ahead. And then there's via Gotemba station. Another way is to take a bus to JR Gotemba station, then catch the free shuttle that runs every 15 minutes between the station and the mall. We finished up around 3:40 p.m. and as we were walking to the free shuttle stop to Gotemba train station, I noticed people standing in front holding up their phones like they were capturing something special. Curious, I walked ahead and to my surprise, there was the majestic Mount Fuji right in front of the outlet. I was truly in awe of its beauty. It looked just like a painting right before my eyes. And even though we saw Mount Fuji from the airplane last year when flying from Tokyo to Osaka, seeing it up close like this was still completely overwhelming. At first, I felt a little sad that my husband missed seeing Mount Fuji, but later he told me he actually caught a glimpse of it from the Gotemba train station, which was a nice surprise. We felt really blessed that the three of us got to see Mount Fuji up close.
Ikaw? Bibili ka? Riley. Say hi, wait.
What's mommy buying?
Drinks. She's thirsty. So she's in her place. Sophia. Ooh, drink.
Dito yung ano,
Go, go.
ニューバランスとか他の会社のつながるの
Oh, nice. Wow,
試着すればいい。オンラインで買うなら1個差し上げない。
oh, after Disneyland.
Disneyland is tomorrow.
Yeah. It's a start.
Mount Fuji or Fujisan in Japanese is Japan's tallest and most famous mountain, standing at 3,776 meters or about 12,389 feet. It's a perfectly symmetrical stratovolcano located on Honshu Island, roughly 100 kilometers southwest of Tokyo. Culturally, Mount Fuji is a sacred symbol in Japanese culture and appears frequently in art and literature. Since 2013, it's been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its cultural and spiritual importance. Mount Fuji is considered really sacred in both Shinto and Buddhist traditions. People see it as a gateway between the earthly world and the spiritual one, and climbing it has been a spiritual thing for centuries. So what are the chances of actually seeing Mount Fuji on a typical trip to Japan? Overall, it's about 20 to 30% for clear views depending on the season and where you are. And when you do see Mount Fuji, it's considered really lucky in Japan. It symbolizes good fortune, new beginnings, and positive energy. For travelers, catching a clear view of Mount Fuji feels like a special moment, a connection, and a bit of hope. That makes visiting Japan even more memorable. After our visit to Gotemba Outlet, Judith, the kids, and I headed straight back to our hotel while my husband went off to do his street karting activity, which you'll see in the next vlog. We took the train back, and it actually took 3 different trains to get us home. From the outlet, we took the free shuttle to Gotemba station. From there, We rode the Gotemba line from Platform 1 heading to Kozu. Then we transferred to the Tokaido line and got off at Shinagawa Station. At Shinagawa, we hopped on the Yokosuka line from Platform 13, which took us back to Kinsho Station. And that's it for our Day 5 adventure, from outlet shopping to that unexpected and magical Mount Fuji sighting. We may have started the day in the rain, but it definitely ended on a high note. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this vlog, and stay tuned for the next one. We've got street karting in Shibuya coming up next. See you soon!